Welcome to the Ninja Chuan podcast. My name is Isaac Kamens. This is a bi-weekly podcast where my friend Jess O'Brien and I discuss internal martial arts, Qigong, and meditation. We are off this week for the holidays, but we're bringing you a special episode on our Patreon. This is a sample of that episode. If you want to hear the whole thing, you can go over to the Patreon and subscribe. This is a premium one, so you got to subscribe for the premium level to hear it. But in the meantime, you can check out a little sample here. We're talking with Abi Moriya of Tel Aviv, Israel. Abi was a student of Xiang's in the 1980s, so he tells us about his time training with Xiang. And if you've been following along with the podcast, we've been talking a lot about Hung School in the 70s, so this is a little bit later on, but gives us sort of a nice coda to what we've been talking about. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening and take care of yourselves.
Would you be willing to start off by just telling us some of your martial arts history and what got you into Chinese martial arts and then what drew you to head to Taiwan after that?
In high school, I tried different martial arts in Israel, especially one style called Danish survival. Okay, it's a local style. Dennis Hanover is a pioneer of martial arts in Israel, originally from South Africa. Was doing very well in judo while he was in South Africa, and then he also combined actually judo with Kyokushin karate and made his own style. And then a kind of interesting mix. That was a high school time and very short period of experience. Eventually, then we had a military compulsory service. After service, I started to learn with a local teacher, a style called Shaolin Lao Hu, Shaolin Tiger. Actually, it's a mix, it's a combination of two styles. He learned it in Argentina. His teacher learned in Argentina with two Taiwanese teachers and combined what he learned from both. One is actually Chang Chuan, like a long fist, and the other is like an interesting style called Shaolin Suxia, Shaolin Full Shapes, which have some esoteric aspects. And he made like a combination of those two, and that was the beginning. Okay, at the same time, there were some Israeli teachers who learned. One of them learned acupuncture in the California Acupuncture College and came back to Israel. The other learned shiatsu in Japan. This was both in the 70s. And I started to learn with them shiatsu and acupuncture. That was the beginning. Okay. And then while actually we were studying martial arts, Shaolin in Israel, there was the BBC series, The Way of the Warrior. Okay, we all know it generally. We watched it like 4,200 times or something. Okay, the only problem was at that time we had only one TV channel, black and white. But fortunately, The Way of the Warrior was broadcasted in the Jordanian TV, which we could somehow watch. So we would watch all the episodes, and I was really fascinated actually by the chapter on Xiang. Even though, okay, not your average Chinese type, right? Not very skinny, doesn't have a long beard, he's not a monk on a mountain. It seems like he actually loved the good life and is a little bit chubby. But okay, there's something about him. I decided I'm going to study with Xiang.
Wow.
The problem was, of course, there was no internet, and Israel is a little bit far from Taiwan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just knew that he's in Taiwan, and I'm here. That's it, more or less. And if you remember, on this episode, one of his students was Daniel Reed, an author.
I've read his book, yeah.
Yeah, quite well known. He wrote many books on Chinese aspect, Chinese Qigong, Chinese philosophy. He lived for many years in Taiwan, about 16 years. Eventually moved to Australia. Okay, so I'm just walking in Tel Aviv and getting to a bookstore. And then, okay, I see we didn't have much information about Taiwan, really. And then I see the book in the bookstore, Inside Guide Taiwan. It's a traveling book written by Daniel Reed, the same
Yeah.
Daniel Reed. And, oh, Daniel Reed, yeah, I know this guy. Okay, and then looking the book, oh no, it's like pictures of Hong Xiang and about three pages on Hong Xiang and pictures
Oh,
of his
In a
son
travel book?
in a travel book, Inside Guide Taiwan. Yeah, like what's crazy?
That's
And then I wrote the publishing company, and they gave me the address of Daniel Reed, and I thought, okay, so I corresponded with
wow.
Daniel.
A lucky
Eventually,
coincidence. Wow.
yeah. So eventually, he wrote me a letter uh, with the address of Hong Xiang on a letter, a real letter, like all days letter, with the address, and said, when you get to Taiwan, get to the taxi, show him the address, and that's your ticket. And okay, and then I corresponded with Hong Xiang, the eldest son. Um, I like the your average Chinese conversation. The school is closed. We're not getting new students unless we see your stay as a long period stay, and will be dedicated to the methods of the Yizhong Tang Shou, etc. Okay, you got the idea. Okay, so eventually I'm coming and I went to Taiwan. The thing was the school was supposedly closed and not accepting new students. So the foreigners in the class at that time were Marcus Brinkman and Christopher Bates and Ashley Hines. So three foreigners. And all of a sudden, I thought I'm the only one who is coming as a newcomer, but we're the three of us actually, three newcomers, all at the same time. One is a British guy named, I don't know if you heard his name, Michael Gillespie. Okay, English martial artist, British. And the other one was Nick, I don't remember his surname. His surname is like American guy. This is Michael Gillespie, anyway, he disappeared from planet Earth.
Yeah, that
No one knows where he is. Yeah,
that happens sometimes.
some say the mafia killed him, some say he was a spy or he vanished. Okay. Anyway, so the three musketeers, we were not part of class actually. So if you remember the Way of the Warrior, the whole space is actually Hong Xiang's second floor, which was part of his house actually. And during the 70s, they had these huge classes with 100 students or more. But eventually, I don't know, for different reasons, it's all came to a much smaller scale. And I think his wife was not that happy that one floor of the house would be dedicated to martial arts, but that's what happened eventually. So we practiced on the second floor, which was quite tiny, right? If you want to do it like Xini form, sometimes you have to like jump back a little bit to finish the whole thing. The three of us were just in some corner near the tea corner, and we're just like standing in a sun t-shirt for a while, and the three of us together. And the rest of the class is just, next to your shoulder, but we're not in that space, we are there.
Yeah.
And pitch run, okay? Pitch run, like the long version. We have another name for it in English, I think. Long structure, maybe. Not the classic one, like with long movements. And we do that back and forth for the whole class. They're standing and doing pitch run and pitch run.
Sounds familiar.
So eventually, for different reasons, the two of them didn't continue. I left the only newcomer, and then I actually joined class. And that's part of the story.
So when you first came to Master Hong's class, there was maybe it's sort of an initiation period where you have to focus on San Tisher and the Pitren in order to sort of earn your right to become part of the class, maybe.
Yes, exactly.
A little bit of a
But
process there.
I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. I think they were suffering more than myself because I know when we were talking, the three of us, that what are we doing? We're doing nothing. We're just standing. They're like,
It feels like you're not really getting any new information. So it's sort of frustrating because you want to learn more for your time's limited, but at the same time, that's the foundation's very important, especially to Master Hong.
right. And I think all of the students at that time had previous knowledge in other martial arts. So obviously, but I think it was quite the difficulty. I think was not for me. I'm not talking about others. Or not so much mental.
Hmm.
If it would continue for a year, I would do it as well, I think. I was ready to study there by hook and by crook. That's it. I already decided I'm learning there. It doesn't matter what you do. But I think eventually, when I took up my previous knowledge, it didn't help me much. So when I'm talking to people who trained with me in Israel, we all agree that we had a great basis for moving to other styles. But when eventually we moved to like Simi or Bagua, the, the structure and mechanism are very different. And I felt that the infrastructure I had, or the Jiben Gong, or whatever I had before, then I eventually have to implement it and shift to another style was quite difficult. So you're moving like everyone else in class, but it's not like pure Sini or Bagua. You see that the core ingredients are not there. I think it takes a few years just to accumulate to that system, and maybe another decade or so that you look at someone and say, oh, okay, this is a Shingi guy, or okay,
Right.
a Bagua guy, and not just moving in a circle without the right feel of the style.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the advice you got when you were just starting out? Maybe people listening could learn from some of the advice or some of the suggestions that Master Hong or some of the teacher, maybe one of the teachers there said.
Yeah, I think because actually we got quite a very nice atmosphere at class, first of all. So teacher Hong was there every class. Usually his three sons, or at least two of them, were there each class.
Wow.
So there are already three or four. And they were also like teaching and assisting. And of course the foreigners who spoke English, otherwise I could not communicate in Chinese. And I think the foreigners mostly helped me the most. So all of them, the three of them, helped me a lot. We would also meet sometimes in outside of class. I was working at the time in Shiatsu at the place called the American Club. It's like a country club. And Chris and Marcus would go there to practice pushing hands. So sometimes we would meet in different times of the day. And they were really not only translate for me in the beginning, but also like give me guidelines for what to do and what not to do, even regarding the mechanics. So in that aspect, they were. I don't think I could do it without them actually, unless I would stay there for decades.
Yeah, the senior students always help. You need a senior students to help the junior students learn. Obviously, pretty important.
And Marcus is really good at explaining things. He's got a great way of just breaking things down. It's impressive.
Yes, I follow him mostly on his videos at the moment. But yeah, I think he made a really great journey eventually in specifically the internal styles, understanding the principles behind them, exploring, and his own interpretations at times for that. Okay, you don't always have to agree. Sometimes, for example, trying to explain something and putting some Chinese medicine ideas or Qigong on top of that. I enjoy what he's saying. We don't always have to agree.
I rarely
Because-
agree with my classmates. Hey, folks, if you want to hear the rest of the episode, go click on the link in the description to the Patreon, and you can subscribe for $10 a month and get the whole episode, as well as our entire archive of everything we've ever done. All right, thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves, and be well.